This is more inspired that we're not really well connected with everything that we buy. And this kind of really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. My mother used to, in her crazy, insane world, as she's trying to pretend everything's perfect, was making um, blankets, these quilts all the time, and sending me a ton of blankets all the time. And I never, I was grateful she's making these blankets. Mom found another project to keep busy with, and that's about as far as it went. And I was grateful for getting these really cool blankets. And then she would try and explain to me everything that went involved, and it was like in one ear out another. I was busy trying to function in my day, raising 4 kids, and had a lot going on that I never really paid attention to her first few stories. Didn't really pay attention to her second few stories. It took quite a few years before I started realizing everything that it took to make a quilt, that there's stories to every quilt. Everything has a meaning that goes behind any type of quilt. And then just the patterning, like how to make shades out of different types of old material, and how to fill up a whole blanket that makes it look like you got tons of material, but you really have just scraps of everything. And it really showed me that a quilt is more than just a blanket. And it didn't just take a couple hours for somebody to make it. It took months, of somebody's hard work that went into something that I was just grateful for getting a blanket. It was like it put a totally new meaning on where something came from. And that is sort of a lesson that we all have to kind of know, that where are your clothes made, who's making them, what, is it a 3-year-old kid that isn't even getting any food to eat? We know nothing about where anything comes from, which is creating a lot of war and violence all over the world, because you want your stuff and you don't want to pay a going rate for it. If we paid the value, the true value of something, we'd be buying it from somebody making it next door. But we can't pay for that value because what we can afford is what we make. You know, can you afford to pay $100 for something that you can get for $5? Like the less our pay goes down, the only thing you can afford is the $5. So as times get really, really bad, all of these things that are trapping us into where we are today is like the Walmart stores. It is all like your dollar stores, things that I shop at that, are not really very good for us if you see where they come from. I would like to see, okay, prices need to drop down dramatically to get to more of a realistic figure. There's no way houses in my lifetime went up $1 million. Something that was worth $5,000 when I was a kid is now worth $1 million today. Like, we need to get real on what the real value of something is, and those prices need to come down quite a bit. And then when they come down, we need to see where we can shop locally. I'd love to get somebody buying, I buy their clothes locally where it's at a price that I can afford, maybe not buy 20 outfits. I mean, we seem to have this, girls have to have a massive closet, that has, you wear one thing once and throw it away. It's like that mentality probably isn't the best idea. You know, I'd like somebody local to buy me something that I cherish and love to wear more than once, and maybe a few of those things. But anyways, the main purpose of this particular video is we need to really associate ourselves with how things happen, how our services are coming about. Is somebody servicing you because they're forced into it, into a slave mentality? Is their wage equal to how much work you put into your day? A lot of these jobs that we presume are easy, no job is any easier than anybody else's job. You know, a nurse works a lot harder than a doctor, but a doctor gets paid more money. And yet, salespeople make more jobs selling crap. Um, Everything's got to change. And while everything's going to change, it's going to be a little bit of a collapse. But we need to be focused on the solutions, start being really aware of where your stuff comes from, and start seeing where the solutions are, because there's a huge demand in creating something completely different. So instead of being caught up in the problems of how bad everything is, it's recognize where they are and start jumping into the change. See where there's going to be a demand, and there is going to be a demand, a huge demand for change, and they all are jobs. Find out what you love doing and find a way to get paid for doing it. Peace out.